Hey, geeks. Got a stack of dollar comics here. Time Masters, issue number 1. I guess this is a Rip Hunter, 1990. Yeah, isn't yeah, Rip Hunter. I haven't read this miniseries before. I'm sure there's probably like an old trade paperback of the 8 issues collected. The movie of the decade on video cassette. I'm old enough to remember when I saw this in the theater. It was huge. You think about, like, what Marvel was like. This had a similar buzz, even though it was just the one movie. And afterward, I think a couple years later, Batman Returns, which was also big. But this was the big buzz because Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson at the time were like the pretty much the biggest movie stars in the world. And they were both paid a lot of money to be in that movie. And Tim Burton was also riding high off of the movies he had done. I think at that point he had already done Edward Scissorhands, if I'm correct, or that might have come after Batman. And then, as you can see, back then we'd get excited when things would come out on video cassette. But that also meant that it probably was on cable too. But yeah, I did see it in the theater, and it was magnificent. Oh, there's Booster Gold. Booster Gold gaining in popularity with the modern crowd. It's going to be a big part of the James Gunn DCU. Some Atlantis by Peter David. I don't remember this either. I guess this came around 1990, so I was out of the... I was not collecting comics at that point. I was just kind of transitioning to being an adult working at a corporation at that point. Man, did that suck. Let's see, we got Huntress, Mr. Miracle here. I forget her name. Is this Hawk and Dove? Blue Beetle, Guy Gardner, John Johns, the Martian Manhunter. I guess this is the Time Masters team in this book. The Superman Flash Race, 1990. All the nostalgias are here. Wait till you see the back cover. Tango and Cash, baby. That was a classic. Opening soon. Yeah. I forgot Jack Palance was in that movie too. Yeah, I think I have that on DVD. It's worth a rewatch. You can find it streaming everywhere, though. I'm sure it's on Tubi and whatnot. Warren Ellis's Ocean. So it's funny. I actually have been looking for this graphic novel, and I couldn't find it. My LCS didn't have it. It apparently is out of print. They weren't able to order it. I can't remember. I might have found a copy of it on Amazon or maybe Thrift Books, and whatever the price was, I didn't want to pay it. But I did find this individual issue for $1. And I found out about this based on some random article that popped up on the internet somewhere, on one of the comic book sites or maybe social media somehow. And it sounded like a pretty interesting synopsis. So this is issue number 5. I I don't recall ever seeing any other issues out there in the wild, but I wasn't really looking for it at the time. So, yeah, if you've read this, drop a comment below, because I want to collect the whole thing, or if I can, I'd like to just grab the trade paperback of it. But it might be easier to just buy individual issues, because you know, I got this for $1. It's in the dollar bins. It's, I don't think it's necessarily a hot collectible. It doesn't mean it's not good, though. Actually does look rather interesting. So yeah, it's very sci-fi. This is really the first time I'm looking at it. It says Freedom Force versus the Third Reich. Take on the original axis of evil. It's a video game. Pretty cool. Isn't Freedom Force... Yeah, I was gonna say Bronze Age characters. This is come from the comic books. I don't know if anybody owns these characters. So there's no DC or Marvel label on here. I would have think DC maybe, but no, I think these are royalty free. So I think, like, I forget his name. What is his name? Is it Captain Cavalry or something like that? Yeah, these are the kind of characters that pop up in Dynamite comics, because they specialize in doing a lot of that. No copyright expired, royalty free, as I've covered on this channel before. So interesting. Yeah, this looks cool. I dig it. This was it was an ad for Planetary. This is what, Wildstorm? Yeah. Wildstorm put out some really interesting comics, man. I just got done reading The Authority, Volume 1. I need to read Volume 2, and it was good. I really dug it. Maybe definitely want to get Volume 2. So it went from I think it was Warren Ellis. Didn't he write The Authority? Yeah, and then it shifted to Mark Millar in the second half. Street Fighter, Free Comic Book Day. Still kind of coffee break. Speaking of coffee break. Oh, that's a good cup there. I just made that cup. Yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm like a Street Fighter fan, but I like to look at them occasionally, just because sometimes it's fun to read fight comics. And it's a good way to really get a sense of how these guys draw action. Charlie Nash. Big part of comics, especially action, adventure, superhero stuff, obviously, is action. You gotta have action. This is I like the coloring in this one. I stick into a lot of reds and siennas and browns and yellows. Here's some old, so yeah, classic hardcovers. Man, these Street Fighter comics and manga have been coming out for a long time. I like these painted covers, though. These are pretty cool. But I don't even know if these are... I'm sure these probably aren't even in print anymore. Or if they are, they're recombined in other omnibuses or something. There's there's a ton of Street Fighter comics out there. A ton of them. OMAC from the New 52. The Factory of Evil. Can anyone survive it? Yeah, I'd like to pick up these OMACs, and I think I only got a couple from the New 52 era. Keith Grizzly Giffen on the art. And the art is pretty cool. Oh, he's taking on Superman. So this is not the Buddy Blanco Mac, is it? I recently read the DC events book, which is like a chronicle of all the events in DC, including obviously New 52, and they do kind of track what goes on with OMAC. But I didn't commit all of it to memory, because at one point the OMAC project leading up to, was it Infinite Crisis or Final Crisis, is when OMAC like dispersed amongst, it became more of a hive mind collective, where it there was multiple OMACs that Sacha Baron and Batman had to deal with. But this particular iteration of OMAC, it was still sort of the singular, OMAC. But this OMAC looks so like huge. I'm not sure if it's the Buddy Blank from the Jack Kirby era. Speaking of Jack Kirby, clearly Kirby-inspired artwork there. Which is why it looks so freaking cool. It's during the Flashpoint period of time. Yeah, Giffen channeling a lot of Kirby in this. But this looks like is this where it intersects with Commandy? I think it is. So yeah, they came up with some story intersections with the Commandy, Great Disaster universe, I guess you could call it, or that particular Earth. I forget what Earth it's called, 621 or something. Major Kirby vibes here, though. I dig it. This comic book looks great, man. Yeah, I don't, maybe I think I collected all the OMAC project, but this OMAC from the New 52, yeah, definitely don't sleep on this. I need to find some more of these. This is probably in a trade also. I have to put that on my radar. I like that a lot, because I have issue number 8, the end of OMAC. Oh no, I almost don't even want to look at it because of spoilers. OMAC, omit, mutilate, and cancel. They've even changed the acronym. Yeah, so double splash page in the Kirby tradition. Breathe it in, soak it in, drink it in. Yeah, man. When did Giffen... I don't remember Giffen really... he can channel Kirby, man. I don't remember... This is not his normal style that I remember. He wasn't doing... Was he doing this on Legion? Legion of Superheroes? I'll have to go back and look at that era, but just major Kirby vibes here, man, which is appropriate because when I think of OMAC, I think of Jack Kirby, man. I mean, he created it, and it was one of his, like, stranger inventions, which is saying something for Jack Kirby because everything he came up with was mind-bending. Yeah, cool, man. Cool. I gotta find the other issues of this. I think I've got at least one of them, though, but only 8 issues of this run. Secret Origins, starring Floronic Man and Guardians of the Universe. Rick Veitch. What year is this? I'm sorry, I'm trying to... 1981. This was published in 81. I might actually have a copy of this. I was picking up the Secret Origins when they were coming out, but the distribution, if I recall correctly, I mean, I was only 11, I think. The distribution was a little shaky, and sometimes these issues didn't pop up at my local Magic Market, so I might have missed a few issues. Yeah, back then you could buy comics in the convenience store. It was glorious. And they would stack them right in front of the video game machines. Ah, the Manhunters. Anything with the Manhunters, the Green Lanterns. I don't remember much about Floronic Man. He kind of looks like a Swamp Thing knockoff. Sinestro. Is that the Anti-Monitor? Yep. Good stuff. Ah. Oh. Oh, I'm losing feeling in my legs. Cyber War, Deathlock. I've got the collected trade paperback for Cyber War. But I do like these individual issues. So this was not the Marvel Tech Deathlock, although this run is basically the same. And I think, if I'm correct, who did the art on this? Okay, Walter McDaniel. Okay. But this is a good Deathlock arc. I don't remember if that graphic novel, the collected, I don't think it's a Marvel Epic edition. I think it's just a trade paperback, but it's an extra large one. I think the title of it was The Soul of Cyberfolk. The Soul of Cyberfolk. I don't think it was necessarily called, but this part 2 of 5, Cyber War, was contained within it. But this era of Deathlock in the 90s, I mean, I love Deathlock when he first popped up in the 70s, late 70s, and through the 80s. But he was really badass in the 90s. And they had some really good artists and writers involved. And there's 2 of them. There's The Soul of Cyberfolk. You want to pick up that one. And then the other one, I think it's called Ghost in the Machine. I think it's called that. And that one's fantastic also. Yeah, I read this a couple of years ago, just vaguely recollecting it now. thing about comics is like you read so many of them and you just, a lot of them just kind of sort of blur together. Because it's true what they say, that comics rot your brain. That is not true, actually. That's a joke. Comics do not rot your brain. Comics actually illuminate your mind. Especially if you read them from, especially if you read them from like the golden age up to the modern age. Fantastic Four, issue 237. The Eyes Have It. I definitely have a copy of this. It used to annoy me. This banner stuck around on Marvel for just, it seemed like forever, man. And it annoyed me because it took up so much cover space. And I was like, yeah, I get it. There's a Spider-Man cartoon on NBC. Yeah, I'm watching it. Okay, like, come on, give me back my cover space. I want to see more of these brilliant covers on these comics. Is this the John Byrne era? I think it is. Yeah. Words and Pictures. Yeah, the much lauded and celebrated John Byrne era, rightfully so. This is when I really started digging on Fantastic Four. I was reading it before he came on board, but then when they brought him on board, I was like, oh, yeah, things are really getting good now, because he was already kind of like, a fan favorite, kind of a living legend. And I think that was coming off of, what was the book that he did before Fantastic Four? Was it Conan? I don't know. He's done so much work, so much stuff over the years. He's still cranking out scripts. I don't know if he's doing artwork so much anymore. But the writing during that era, I recall, was really good. The plots, the subplots, the characters, the direction that he took the Fantastic Four into. It seemed like the stakes were just getting higher. The book was taking itself a little more seriously. They kind of sort of dropped some of the sort of like campy aspects of it. And so it was very apropos for the time, because it was 80 something, let's see, 1981? Yeah, 1981. Damn good year for comics, man. Barry Sonnenfeld's Dinosaurs vs. Aliens, written by Grant Morrison. I've never seen this before, but when you have dinosaurs and you have aliens and you have Grant Morrison, I mean, that's a no-brainer. Here's my $1. Give me this. Give me this now. I don't know what I've never heard of it before, never seen it. That's why the dollar bins are where you find hidden treasures, my friends. I mean, look at this artwork. Look at this. This is whack, man. You got this like cosmological opening, with Grant Morrison on the words. You got this rad artwork. And some aliens are about to come up in here. Yeah, man. Got you a T-Rex. December 2011. Got some sketchbook art. Yeah, this guy Mukesh Singh. I've never heard of him. Dude's a great artist. dig that line work, man. When you look at this, like, this is actually, it looks complex, but it's actually simple. It's just line and form. That's all it is. You know, it's a fast way for the guy to get his concept created and his development. It looks like he did it in Sharpie, maybe like a thinner ballpoint pen, but most of it, all the fill-in, he looks like he just took a Sharpie to it, and like boom, he's got a good character concept that he, you know, fleshed out into this detail later on, or this. Yeah, man, radical, man, radical. And I mean, the coloring here, this painted effect is clearly digital. But, and I think digital painting or digital coloring is one of the things that makes modern comics actually look so bland. But when you do have a skill behind it, like this guy clearly does, when it looks so good that you have to do a double take to make sure that it's not actually been painted like on paper or canvas and that it is digital, then I have no problem with it, because the guy is clearly sort of channeling what would happen if you were to paint this on paper or canvas. The happy accidents are left in. And I almost think it takes a good painter who's used physical paints in the past to make an even better digital painter and digital colorist, because they know from doing it in the physical world that they can translate that quality into the digital world with digital tools. Because I think digital coloring has made a lot of people just lazy, to be honest. And I think it contributes to sort of the bland look that too many modern comics have. But occasionally you will find people that will do digital coloring, you know, like this. Because I would venture to guess, like, when this guy probably sketched out this dinosaur, these sort of scale or feathered type details weren't even a part of the sketch. These were added in the coloring process in Photoshop or whatever he was using, which is cool. I mean, so there's some improvisation. There's a lot of improvisation in that part of the hunchback of this. I think it's a T-Rex, maybe a raptor. I don't know. I'm not up onto my dinosaur species exactly. Yeah, these two panels are just great, though. They really are. Even the way he used the coloring and the paint and the tone and the shading, excellent foreground and background effects. Yeah, I clearly need to get more issues of this. Got some scripts. I like it when they do that, when they include the scripts, they do the sketchbook, they show you character concepts. Oh, yeah. All right. Here's the hardcover. So there is one that exists. I'll have to look for this. And this artist, what would I say his name was? Mukesh Singh? Now I'm getting obsessed. Now I got to go down the rabbit hole here. I've got to find out. Okay, Liquid Studios. So they did the coloring on this. I guess that's what that means. Mukesh did the penciling, and they did the coloring. Interesting. But yeah, I'd like to find more of his artwork. Liquid Studios, I've seen their name on a lot of other comics before. But, just looking at this, now compare this coloring to what you're going to get like in the average, and I mean the average Marvel or DC book today. I'm not talking about like some of the event stuff they're doing, because they are doing some great artwork in some of these books that are coming out. But in your run-of-the-mill, like some of the X-Men books that have been coming out, and even like in DC, like that DC versus Kong versus Godzilla, you're not getting this type of love in the coloring, that type of just passion in it. You can just, I don't know, it's hard to put into words, but I think everybody knows what I'm talking about. You can feel the attention to design in a book like this, And I don't know what kind of control Grant Morrison has, but when he's writing this stuff, he's visualizing this in his mind as well. And then when they're shown the product to him, I'm sure he's got some level of sign off where he's like, yeah, this is good. This is what I had in mind. It's not always going to be 100%. There's always going to be some divergence between the artistic interpretation and what the writer sees in his mind. But then of course you can't just hold up the assembly line too, but you can request changes. I think when you're at Grant Morrison's level, I think you can say like, no, this panel needs to be redone. That's completely not what I had in mind. So, there has to be like a synergy there. And if it's a good synergy, it creates an even better story and a better comic book. So this is probably, I'm not having read this, but I'm just looking at something, and I haven't heard much about this, but it came out maybe 20 years ago, but this might be an underrated book. I'm going to try to find that. Batman Beyond universe. So I like Batman Beyond. Loved the comics, loved the cartoon, loved the animated, and it turns out there's like a ton of Batman Beyond that I don't have, and this is one of them. So yeah, I know next to nothing about what's going on here. I'm only familiar with the, Batman Beyond comics based off of the Warner Brothers cartoon, which what did that run, like 3 seasons we got here? Big Barda and Catwoman. 3 or 4 seasons. And there he is, Terry McGinnis doing his thing. The Strangers. I've seen this book around. I don't know too much about it. I like the artwork though. Scott Kowalczyk, Chris Robertson. This kind of reminds me, if I'm just looking at it, I'm thinking it's kind of like a 60s period piece thing. Reminds me of sort of like the Patrick Macnee Avengers, the British, sort of a British spy, semi-superhero squad type of deal. Kind of retro, future. Yeah, definitely getting a 60s vibe off of this. So, free comic book days, so that means it's a good introduction to the series. I'm pretty sure there's like an omnibus out there somewhere. It might even be in publication from time to time. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Was it? Okay, yeah, it's an Oni Press. So they published it. I thought it was IDW, but it doesn't matter. Batman, Legends of the Dark Knight. So whenever I see these, I pick them up. It's just this title was good. Alan Grant, Arthur Ranson, and this Legends of the Dark Knight is known for like excellent covers, man. There's just some excellent covers every time I see this book. It's somewhat photorealistic artwork, but it's still got that noir look to it. The Bat. Yeah, it looks like he's taking on some Yakuza. Yeah, very detailed art. Very really. Oh, is that Azrael? Yeah, that's Azrael. This is just before 0 hour. Okay, so that. This Run of the Demon, man. I saw this. I think I came across somebody had a collected package of issues. I don't know why I didn't buy it. It was very stupid of me not to buy it. The artwork in this series, I don't know who did it. Is it John McCrae? Yeah, I guess he's the artist. But the artwork just really was something unique. This period of time, I mean, you didn't know what you were going to get in any. There didn't seem to be like really any house style. You know, DC was just, they were bringing in different creative people, experimenting, doing different styles of artwork, you know, and it all sort of like matched the tone of the book. So this has to be, was it late 80s? No, early 90s, 1993 for this one. But this is issue 52, so I mean this book started, I think, in the late 80s. Legends of the Dark Knight. Metallo, #1, overlaying Action Comics. More New 52 era action. You know, I was like, well, it's got Metallo in it. I'll grab it. I don't have a lot of New 52 comics. I certainly don't have enough to like piece it all together. I don't have all the 52 issues of the 52 titles of the New 52 era. Don't have all those collected. But I do have this one. Yeah, I always like to look at Action Comics. The Flash, Honeymoon in Vegas, starring the Justice Society of America. I don't know if what Honeymoon, is it Iris West? And no, it's, who is it? What's his name? McGee. What year was this? 2000. Okay, that's why I don't know what's going on in the year 2000. There's Wildcat, the old Justice Society. Yeah, at this point, I don't know what's going on in the Flash. Is Barry Allen even in this book? Or Wally West even? I'm not sure. But that's why you grab them for $1, so you can kind of get a placeholder and figure out where they're at in the saga of DC Comics. JSA is just, it's an interesting team to follow because there's so much time travel involved and there's so much history behind the team because of their sort of, you know, genesis in World War II and being from the golden age of comics. You know, they're just, they carry a lot of history with them. And is this Elseworlds Robin annual, issue #3? I guess he's like a samurai. in this. So that's probably why I bought it. Because, oh, yeah, this is why I bought it. I thumbed through it and I was like, yep, yep, yep. Batman, Robin, Samurai. Yep, definitely. That's for $1. Yep, here you go. Here you go. What year is this one? 1994. Okay. Yep. Wasn't paying attention to comics, unfortunately, in 1994, so I missed this, but I got it now. Oh, and it looks great, doesn't it? Doesn't it look fantastic? So, I'm just guessing here, but it's like in a world where Batman and Robin and Catwoman are like in a samurai feudal Japan world. This is their story. Well, he might even be a Ronin, too. Robin is a masterless samurai. Perhaps he has a break with the Batman samurai. And then they are messing up some ninjas. Yeah, you can't go wrong with this. It's a no-brainer. And then finally, they just threw out a Batman magazine. This is similar to the one they did with Superman just before the movie. These are basically just reprints, but the pitch here is that it's magazine sized, not comic book sized. So this is like, oversized comics. Yeah, I got an issue from the Long Halloween, and they do like a little intro, just talking about why it was good and so forth. They throw a little bat trivia in there. So these are like good for sort of like newbies, people that are like curious about Batman, and they're probably looking for a jumping on point, like, and so you want to hook them, with some of the best stories from Batman recently, anyway. And so you got that, and there's probably some Hush in here. What do they have? 85 years, the Batman has been around now. 1,000 years from now, he will possibly be considered to be mythological being. From the New 52, so we've got, I think, the start of the Owls saga. There's not really a table of contents in here. From the DC Universe Rebirth. The Batmobile is kind of like a bat tank. Yeah, they have a little trivia sprinkled in there. Yeah, it's kind of cool to see these in larger format. These classic stories. For like $15 for this magazine, I think like $14.99. I am Gotham. By the way, the Long Halloween the DC animated movie, Long Halloween, is fantastic. It's excellent. And they just published a Batman compendium, Batman Black and White compendium, which collected all of the black and white, Batman comics that they did starting, I think, when did that start? Like in 2010, 2011, they were starting to reprint some of them in black and white. But I think there were some others that they intentionally published in black and white. So, yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right. Well, I hope you all are doing well. Go see Predator Badlands if you haven't. I saw it last night. It's great. Don't believe the haters on YouTube. Even if you're not a Predator fan, you will enjoy it. It's just nonstop action. Great character development, character arcs. I thought Elle Fanning was fantastic in it. Um, and yeah, I think it furthers the Predator lore, I guess you would say, or at least sets up for more interesting stories. Kind of the way Alien Earth did for Alien, which I also thought was great. So, and who knows, maybe we'll get lucky and we'll see another convergence of the aliens and the Predators. Would not shock me. So, on that note, if I don't make another video by then, have a happy Thanksgiving and stay geek.